Hi. Yes, I'm Dieter. Got how the camera works. But I can so-called get it now. How are you guys doing? I'm Dieter. To this part of my Dieter's Nature Diary. Today is the 26th of July 2021. It's a special day in many ways because the main thing is for me, I would like to spread a very good positive message on how we all can take part in making our way of life as individuals and as families, and together also with the individuals and families of the natural life forms which are of nature, and we are all part of this, whether we wish to accept this part that we are a natural life form. We are the largest predator on earth, but we are convinced to be two-legged humans living in a unnatural way of lifestyle, the majority, and the minority, which is probably 2% or 5% in the entire world population, lives together in harmony with their environment, natural environment they are living in and part of, because they know that life comes from the land, the ground, the soil, the land, the ground, the soil, the fresh water, seawater, the air, the trees, the plants, together with the natural life forms. And as humans, we bring together hope of respect, balance, and we humans play that guardian and caretaker part, but in total we bring biodiversity. And it's important we in total, as us being part of a life form, the whole part of the natural life on earth. And it's hard to understand that we are separate, because obviously it is easy to understand that, my apology, because of the way we are living now with a governing system, and all of us are, majority are mistrusting the governing systems anywhere in the world, for they don't lead for us, and it's always getting harder. That is not the point of my topic now. My point of my topic is that I wish everyone to be able to take action together, as the most important decision of all of our lives, practically, and the future of life in general, is about to take place. And this is the climate change summit in Glasgow in Scotland in the United Kingdom in November 2021. The exact date I'm not certain, but I do feel, so I don't drag on with my disability and continue talking and leading astray from the topic, I wish everyone to come along with me on this path to show the importance that your life as an individual plays to you. For if you understand that the land, the ground, the soil, the fresh water, fresh air, and so many of you understand now in this world, everything is becoming so polluted with all of the throwaway society gizmo and gizzos that we are buying, which has been thrown upon us since 1990, with global growth and free trade, open markets, and an expanse in capitalism, which is leading mainly in the world, leading nations. But that's not my point. Again, I'm straying. What I think all of us ought to do, without any harm being spread or violence or anything like this, everyone in peace, join together wherever you are in the world, and help those who are not able to take part in this way because they may be in debt. They're committed to their work because of their debt, which is part of the control of our system, to ensure that people get indebted so that they are then committed to the work, to commit to taxes, therefore committed to not being able to do what I'm asking people to do now, which is everyone is to take a stance together and unitedly starting this month. I know we don't have much days left, as today is the 26th. So if we start this week, let's say on Friday or Saturday, today is Monday, this 26th, so I don't know when the end of the month will be. So let's say the end of the month, the last day of the month, we all take a stance and don't go to work. Wherever you are, and if you are not working, you take a stance still as part of this and sit down in your garden somewhere and relax with nature, wherever you are in the world. Don't sit down in a city. Go outside with your family, your children, and go and sit outside with nature. Just like we all have done with the pandemic, and we recognize that the pandemic seems to be a threat to us all as a human race, to our way of lifestyle. But in that concept, we are a threat to nature, and nature is protecting itself. So in fact, we have got to recognize and accept we are the ones doing the wrong, not nature coming with coronavirus. So in this aspect, we all can understand. So we are now going to, all of us, go to nature on one day at the end of this month and sit down with nature all day. Don't go to work. The whole point about this whole thing is to stop working. So we all begin to we take action for the governments, because the governments are unaware how to do it, but we are stopping, just like what happened during the coronavirus, where people were asked to stay at home to isolate and no one was able to walk around, nothing took place. The same way, I know it's difficult, but let's get together. I know everyone clapped for the NHS for the good efforts which they are still doing and being under strain by everything reopening again. So therefore, this is even more important than you think. It's the importance of life. So let's start by the end of this month, the last day of this month. No one goes to work. Everyone sits somewhere where there's nature. View it live so we all can be a part of it together and share this all. And from the end of this month, what we're going to do until that summit meeting, every month you add one more day a week where we all do this, which is sitting with nature, looking at nature, caring for nature. If you have a green patch, such as a little garden, or you have a forest where you like to go and embrace nature and meditate, well, you go there and do this all day. Not part, all. And the whole point about this is we are protesting for nature. We are for the voice that's not heard, and it hasn't been heard for centuries. All we have done is kill it to the point where now it's becoming impossible for this life, natural life, to actually maintain life. And this is why it's so critical that we do this. Because the base platform of life, which is the land, the ground, the soil, and everything else with it, the fresh water, the seawater in sea, and the trees, the plants, and the different natural life forms, which all combine together in harmony and peace and trust for each other and respect for each other, forming biodiversity, only if we humans join in as understanding we are part of it. We are a life form, a natural life form. And when we live together in biodiversity with nature, in that natural environment, it will be called the semi-natural wildlife. That is our environment we engage with nature. And the other part out with is the wild natural life forms. But to accomplish this fantastic new green way of living, there are many things we've got to get together with the governments and sit down and commit them to, not them commit us to. We've been committing too long. It's time they do what we wish. So we've got to commit them to a full and proper, legitimate way to live green. And it does not hold at the forefront economical gain. It does not hold at the forefront large amount of unnatural habitats being destroyed to produce green energy. It does not hold in the plan for more oil fields to be drilled, more coal mines to be dug. It does not hold in the plan for more renewable energies, which are actually not renewable energies. in the fact the machine that does it, it is, but everything that makes up that component, that machine, it is totally unnatural. And it takes a lot of natural energy, life, resources, the poison it excretes from the manufacturing of it, the chemicals of the paints, everything. There's so much to it. It is not renewable. It doesn't help. All it's doing is helping the economical gain for the governments. So what we're going to do is focus this economical gain for the natural gain. So nature can gain by what we do with nature in harmony to help nature to thrive, to grow, to gain its biodiversity. And by this nature thriving with us, alongside, where we are spread more vastly, more widely on the spanses of natural land to care for it in the guardians we are and caretakers we are meant to be as humans, the part we are to play. And this we're able to enrich the subsistence farming or the farming or whatever we're doing alongside nature as one. Not these large manufacturing sites, large huge cities where masses of people are. No. We've got to change and alter completely. It's a lot to be done. But back to the point so we can achieve this end result, it is we've got to hold, at this present moment, our stance unitedly with nature, urgently for nature, where we start from this month, don't go anywhere but go to nature. And don't work in terms, go to nature, sit down, everyone. And those people who can't go, help them to be able to do this. Help them, if they don't have food, help them. Those who can, just like we did in the coronavirus. Those who don't have the money to help themselves because they're vulnerable, help them. So they can come up, because some of the most vulnerable people wish to take part in this. So then from August, which is the next month after July, you would take 2 days a week. And then September, you would take 3 days a week. October, you'll take 4 days a week, all right, in each month. So that makes up, you understand. So every week you add on, every month you add on an extra day, but you do it every week. You take the certain amount of days off. So in other words, this month you start, the end of the month, take 1 day. For August in its entirety, you'll be adding 1 day per week extra. So that will be not 4 days for the month, that will be 8 days in the month you will not go to work. You will share it with nature, with your family, and care for nature. Plant trees, do everything that you can that you think you're able to then go towards putting a platform in place with nature that you can survive with nature and by nature. Don't tell nature how to survive, right, and provide for you. Let nature do it, you help it. And then when nature is thriving, and happy with you, because you can see everything happy, the bees, the butterflies, then you slowly engage in introducing a small amount of subsistence farming methods, which are able to provide for you. The next step you've got to do, so from August you go to September, so instead of 8 days like in August, in September, how many days will you have? It will be 3 days a week. So it's 4 weeks. I don't know how many weeks exactly because my head is quite slow with my disability, but in normal calculation, if they were going to be 3 days a week, 4 weeks, that is 6, 9, 12. So that's 12 days in September you will then take off from work and stop everything, wherever you are. Okay? And by then, the governments around the world, I'm not speaking just in UK, worldwide we're doing this, and therefore worldwide we're all united, people uniting with nature, uniting keenly nature, the platform for life to exist. When we get the hearing, the seeing by the governments, of whom are all so misleading us, but the few they're leading for the mass gain that goes to the few, and the poverty and stricken lives that many of us are faced with from the age of 5 years to the age of now 66 years old, where you receive your pension in the UK. It's absolutely ridiculous. My partner turned 66 today, it's her birthday, that's why I'm doing this. My mother couldn't reach her pension age, my father reached and he died 2 years later. My grandparents or my grandmother and grandfather of my father's side, likewise, one died 2 years after the other, and just about 2 years into their pensionable age. My grandparents of my mother's age, none of them hit pensionable age. So you ask me how smart the government thinks they are by increasing the pension age, where they're using this money, which they start taking from the age of young, by infiltrating your thoughts as a child from the minimum age of 5. They say children go to school at 7. A lot of them. They start at 5, even younger. Yes? You know why? Because indirectly it goes through the parent who passes it to their baby, struggling to survive they are with the certain works that they may have to go 14 hours a day to a job. And they can't provide to their family and their children. They can't even go to the garden to produce vegetables because they have no garden. They have nothing of their own which they can survive from, which is with nature, in harmony. They live in a concrete jungle or in a home where there's no land. This is to stop. This is to stop. This is absolutely ridiculous. And until we start understanding how badly we ourselves as a natural life form under threat we are as a human, outwit the government, how dangerous we're becoming as a human race without the ability to survive by ourselves individually. We rely on a system, on a natural system to survive, to provide us with the base, which is good mental health and good healthy food. This comes from nature. And all of this has been stripped. So let us all unite and start from the last day of this month. Don't go to work, go to nature. And let us all protest in a calm, peaceful manner for all of those who receive their pension today on the 26th of July, and those all before, and those who are coming. And let us all do it for our children, of whom some of us don't even know our children because we've been stripped the rights to see our children. Because of so hard we tried, so hard we attempted to do the best we could in our world, our natural world we're living. And because we couldn't do even more, even though it took our ability of life, and you have a breakdown, you're committed for life not to see those children. But if you're with nature, and nature takes its own path and call, because you're in harmony with nature, caring for nature, and you can get your food, you can get your warmth from the timber of the trees. You can get the clean air from the trees. And you can get the biodiversity with the trees and the plants and the undergrowths that all make up this beautiful habitats which we so don't have in so many places, as you can see behind me. I'm attempting to do this here. Let us work together and see if we can. And there's no two ways about it anymore. You are to do it now. You are to hold the governments to call. And when they are making decisions, the entire nation and those individual areas, such as we are on the Western Isles of Scotland, they all hold a right to understand how we can help nature. Not the government tells us how to care for nature because they don't live here. Having livestock destroys the lands because no trees, no vegetation can grow other than the grass which is grazed and overgrazed. We are not any more stupid the way you hope us to be. But you are manipulating our thoughts by reverse psychology. So it's the moment to stop now. It's our chance to speak for the better of nature, which is us. So many of us are getting unhealthy mentally. And yes, I am the one who had a breakdown, by the way. But I'm okay, and nature is my healer. This is why it's so important for me to speak. I've done several videos. But this, I hope, will catch the nations worldwide. And remember, if you work for 66 years for the institution and you pay taxes, such as now you retire at 66, minus 5 years from when you're young, minus your education years till you're 17. Okay, so instead of 66, you actually work minus 20 years. Sorry, because you go to school, so you cannot ignore that. That is part of the system. So you start school at 5. School is considered to be work as part of the system, grooming you. They're not teaching you how to be with nature. They're not teaching you how to walk or ride a donkey so you can get to school. They're not teaching you how to ride a bicycle properly on the road so that you're able to get from point A to point B without any traffic hitting you. No, they're not teaching you how to grow your own vegetables, how to plant your trees with your vegetables and your pheasants and grouse and partridge on the lands that you may have. The only thing we know is chickens, because it is part of the commercialized farming entity. The natural birds, yes, there are pheasants, grouse, partridge, and so on. And the guinea hen, they're all natural birds. So is a chicken if you go back to its ancestral breed. Come on, let us all stand together and realize what this all is. There's some people who have taken their lives through the last year of coronavirus. Why? Because they struggle to pay the very debt which the government refuses to help them in this unnatural world that we live in. The debt, the very debt which is a business that they are pushed to open so they can contribute taxes. And yet they kill themselves because they cannot pay the indebtedness that they're in by keeping on staff and keeping on the debt for rent, etc. I was the same. My business collapsed just after the 90s when we had the world recession. Yes, I also was an alcoholic, so I know what it's all about. I know how it behaves, how you come out of alcoholism, what the effects afterwards are. I know what the mental impacts are from the strains that you encounter when you work so hard to do the best and then you become an alcoholic. And you come through this whole process and you come out the other end like I did. And I'm still here. And the hardships that I've had from 2006 till now, that is 2006, is when I stopped drinking. And it has been extremely hard being limited with the conditions of health I'm limited with. Still affected by the government's ways against us, against me, and individuals like me who are not respected, who are discriminated. Back to the point why it is so important. We all sit with nature in peace for a whole day, starting the end of this month. And for August, you do it 2 days a week, which makes it 8 days in the month. For September, you do it 12 days, and you continue adding 1 day a week each month until the Climate Change Summit, which is in November 2021 here in Scotland. Unite, you people. Let's come together. We can be finally in harmony and peace. And nature is the one who can do it for us, not the governments. They will stand by our side and do what we ask them to, but we must stand together without violence, in peace, so they understand the violence that they portray out towards us by treating us in such a bad way. We must not do similar to them by showing violence to them. We must show peace, as nature shows us. If we unite with nature, we are going to hold peace in our hearts and souls. When our souls connect to nature, we will be as one. Now is our chance to do it, and it will be our only chance for life, for your own life. We say that we don't have anything of substance to work what we work for when we work in the unnatural way of life. Here is your chance. All you people in cities, let's go and do it.